My fists call out for blood. I have awoken at last!
Ryu the Tireless Warrior here. When in doubt, always remember, sure you can. Alright, so I'm back for another episode of Streetfighter Storytime. And this is the story of the time I put a whooping on Katie and her twin sister Kat in 2nd grade. But first, I'm going to tell you all about the time my 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Cooper, had me drugged up for being a boy. Alright, so whenever I skipped kindergarten and 1st grade, and whenever I got to 2nd grade, they had this like review round where they wanted to see what everyone knew. So the teachers asked, 100 questions or so, a bunch of questions, and that's basically the whole day, or most of it, besides like playtime. Okay, so she's asking questions, my hand's going up, my hand has been going up. I taught myself to read. And I remember being 13 months old when I got my first spanking for accidentally hitting my brother when the day he came home from the hospital. Not my twin brother, my younger brother. And so this is like, of course I remember that. I was an old man by 2nd grade. Okay, but what happened was I was raising my hand, and she's like, Ryan, you gotta quit raising your hand so much, And I was just like thinking, why don't you just stop calling on me? And, okay, I didn't teach myself to read. We had Hooked on Phonics, and I found it, and I taught myself using that. It's like a system. But, okay, same diff, though, right? But anyway, I'm ready. So I decided, okay, I'm going to skip a few, right? Let them give them a chance. And then I 1, 2, skip a few, I answer one. Skip a few, I answer another one. And this girl starts bursting into tears, okay? And then she goes, Ryan, like, we give other people a chance to answer. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, so I waited even longer. I didn't answer. I don't think I answered any more that day because I could just tell. And that was my first day of school, period. Well, okay, 2nd day of school because I skipped. I was the new boy on top of it, all right, because I was a day late. And anyway, the next day I come back and it's the same thing because we're not done. And then I'm answering questions, but I had waited like 4 or 5 questions, and then I'd answer one, and then I'd wait 2, 3, because I'm an impatient little kid, but I'm trying to be patient. And because my daddy would beat me if I get in trouble at school. And not any regular beating either. But what happened was I answered another question, and a bunch of girls started crying. And then the boys are sitting there with their heads down, and the teacher's kind of growling at me a little bit. I was just like, whoa. And then a week later, I'm on Ritalin, the strongest brain stimulant known to man. It's able to kick out 5 to 15 IQ points in college students. Okay? They'll take an IQ test, then take it again. Okay, so I'm going to read you something. The children who were treated with methylphenidate showed Ritalin. Showed a significant increase in cerebral blood flow when they started the medication, an increase that maintained itself even after treatment ended, and the medication was fully washed out of their bodies. The placebo group saw no similar effects, and the adults who were treated with methylphenidate returned to their baseline levels of cerebral blood flow almost immediately after the 16-week medication period was over. After once. Sometimes we do that, fill it in. Okay, so they test, and the study goes on to say they need more studies. They did not look at adults who were treated with Ritalin as children. They only looked at standard adults. Okay, so that's what they go on to say, is that they need to find out, hey, is there a long-term effect? Well, it just so happens my neurologist right here, and I just had a brain surgery on my birthday last year, and right near my birthday, and right before it. And I had an implant that failed in my skull and the cerebral spinal fluid was crushing my brain. Well, so they told me I do have increased blood flow to the brain. And that made me remember, because I thought it was due to the pressure, But it turns out, I remember Dr. Benner, my old doctor, telling me that too. And I remember being 13 months old. So it's not like I was an old man by then. That was my first spanking. I accidentally hit my youngest brother, or second youngest brother. It was an accident, still got beat. And I went to foster care not long after, well, a year or two after that, remember that too. But I was an old man by second grade. But the point is Katie, okay, they started a war. Because I remembered that. I remembered all of it. So Katie decides to push over my twin brother with her twin sister Kat. I run up and punt kick her right between the eyes. Running, jumping, punt kick. And then I punch her sister in the stomach and punt kick her right between the eyes too. The stamp, I call it. And they had to wear that stamp for a month. Okay? And I've done it to other people since. Girls too. These girls tried to jump out and ambush me last year. And I did the same thing, except one of them got German suplex. So the other one got stamped. Okay, and it's hard to block because I now use a running step mixed with a jump, so I can do it on taller people or step behind their knee. It's really, really effective. Okay, but the reason I bring it up is, how do I punish Miss Cooper? How do I punish those girls? They got away with it. Or did they? Tactical misogyny, and I'm justified in it. Okay? I seek a use for my power outside of that.